All right, guys. Last week we talked about multiplying numbers with signs, okay? And we talked about if I have the same sign or two positives, I'm going to have a positive answer, right? Because I have an even number of negatives. I have no negatives. Here, if I have two negatives, it's still going to be positive. If I have one negative, like this example, it's going to be negative. And if I switch the order, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be negative, right? So we talked about that last week. So like if I had three negatives, my answer is still going to be negative, right? And if I just had one negative, my answer is still going to be negative. All right, the same applies when we put variables in there, okay? We still have to count our number of negatives. So if you have, for instance, let's say you got 4 times a negative x. There's one negative, so my answer is negative 4x, okay? If I have both negative, let's say I had negative 2 times negative y, that's going to end up being a positive 2y because we have two negatives, okay? An even number of negatives makes it positive, okay? Now, if we have a whole bunch of stuff, let's say we got like 5 times negative a times b times negative c. Again, let's just count our negatives. There's two of them, this one and this one, so our answer is going to be positive. So we just line them up, 5 times a times b times c, and there's our answer. Okay, so basically all we're doing is still just counting negatives. Okay, if I have some exponents, let's say I got like negative 2 times negative x squared. Okay, well, I got to do this guy first, right, because of PEMDAS. I got to do my exponents before I do my multiplication. So if we do this first, that's actually going to be a positive x squared, isn't it? Because negative x times negative x would be positive x squared. So now this is going to be a negative 2x squared, isn't it? Because even though it looks like there's two negatives here, there's actually three because this guy has two of them, doesn't he? That 2 right there makes it have 3 of them. So my answer ends up being negative. Okay, so basically you're counting negatives. If you have an odd number or even number, it tells you your answer. Okay. Now there was one on the assignment that was kind of a little bit, it had a negative outside. And that has to happen second again because of PEMDAS. So the exponent has to go first and then make it negative. So my answer is really this, because the negative is applied after doing this part. So even if it was like this is going to become positive, but then I make it negative, so my answer is negative x squared again, isn't it? Okay? Because I have to follow the order of operations. All right, and so the next part then is what do we do when we put a number in there? So one of the beginning ones we had maybe something like this. And I said, all right, well, what if x is negative 5? Well, what do? You just plug that in, right? So I got negative 3 times negative 5. Well, that's going to be a positive 15, and we're done. So now, once I plug that in there, it's just like what we were doing last Friday, okay? The difference could be like if we have some exponents, okay? So let's say we have like negative 2 times negative x cubed, and I go x equals 3. All right, well, that's going to be this, right? But again, I have to do this part first because that's the exponent. And we said that negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. And yeah, I know this is a positive 3, but what's this sign right here? So each of these has to be negative. That's going to be a negative 27, right? So then 27 times 2 is 54. Now, is my answer positive or negative? Well, I got 1, 2 negatives, so my answer is positive, okay? Now, what happens if I have a negative there, and then I say that x is negative 6? What's going to happen then? So I got 3, and then I got my negative, and then I got a negative 6 here, and then I got to square it. Well, Now this is a little bit confusing because PEMDAS, we have to do the parentheses first. So the exponent's outside this big parentheses, isn't it? So I got to do everything in this parentheses first. So 2 negatives in a row make a positive. And then I got 3 times, what is that, 36? 6 squared is 36. And then times 3 would be 108. Because 30 times 3 is 90. And 6 times 3 is 18. So these two together make 108. All right? So, and don't forget how to do fractions either. We got to do some fractions yet. So if I got like, let's make this a 3. I got 11/3, and I got an x, and let's say x is 9. All done? Thank you, ma'am. Okay. So now we can just go ahead and plug that in there. I notice I put that 3 over 1. Whoops. And can I put this 9 over 1 as well? I sure can. Have a good weekend. Oh, just don't forget this. Don't forget that. So now my 3's will cancel, right? You guys remember doing that? So now I got all 1's on the bottom. I've only got 1 negative, so it's going to be negative. And then I got 1 times 11 times 9. Well, isn't that 99? So my answer is negative 99 there. Okay. Don't forget how to multiply fractions. All right. So that's your first day for the week. Good luck. Email me questions. My email's up on the board if you need it. And then we're going to do page 96. We're going 32 to 46. All right? Good luck.